Hey, welcome back. I'm Dana Ryan from DanaRyan.tv and DanaRyan.com. And tonight we have a special guest with us. We have Holly Homer. We invited her here to talk with us about Facebook. And I do have my usual guests here, hosts, Amy and Diana. You guys all know her. And we also asked Crystal from Brought to You by Mom to be here with us tonight because she co-admins the Blogging Mommy Meetup Facebook group with me, which is sort of a sister group of the whole Mommy Meetup brand. But Holly, I would love it if you would go ahead and say hi to everybody, introduce yourself, give your little elevator speech or whatever you want to do so everyone who hasn't heard of you before knows where to find you.
I'm Holly Homer, and thank you so much for inviting me. This is going to be super fun. And I'm really fancy with my elevator speech. But I run Kids Activities blog, and we write about fun things to do with your kids and resources for parents. And then you can also find me on the Quirky Mama Facebook page, and I run a company called Business to Blogger where it matches bloggers and brands together. So that's about what keeps me busy.
Perfect, and thank you so much for being here. I was telling Holly before the Hangout started that I was so excited to find her. I had almost given up on Facebook. I really had almost given up on it. On my Facebook fan page, I was like, I'm done with it. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I sort of was like, I'm sort of in the camp, we've had this Facebook group for YouTube Mom Meetup for a long time, and I sort of feel like groups are sort of a little bit more easier, to get interaction with your community. And then I found Holly, and she, really blew my mind with everything that she said. And so that's what we're talking about, Facebook fan pages and how to sort of boost, your engagement there. And I know that, Holly, you grew your Facebook page, really quickly within a year. So we have questions in the Facebook group. We also have our Twitter team on hand. So if you would like to tweet under the hashtag YTMM, you can do that. And we will, Crystal is here in the Hangout with us. She is one of our team leads for that, and she's going to be checking it. Also, Anne-Marie's on hand and a lot of the other Twitter team members, so we're going to try to address those. Also, in the comments, please leave any comments you have for Holly, and we'll try to address those as well, as we can in the time that we have here. But we really want to jump right into it because we really want to maximize our time with Holly, and so we're going to go ahead, and Diana is going to read off the first question that we have from the Facebook group. So go ahead and let's get to it.
All right, the first question from the YouTube Mommy Meetup Facebook group is from Sarah Biomammy, and she asked, what would you say helped you grow on your Facebook page and what didn't? So what are the main key points that helped you grow and what could you skip?
Well, this is really interesting because this is really going to be different for every single person, and that's kind of what we found for our page is, and I did not do this alone. My partner Rachel Miller was a big force of this, and I think that was part of the fun that we were able to look at the analytics together, and that's what I would encourage everybody to do. If you have not checked out your Facebook Insights, there is a crazy amount of information from everything from like what your fans are when they're online, what they're interacting with, what they like, what they don't like, when they unlike you, and that kind of thing. And so what we started to do is just increase our content to a point where we could get some of that data. And the stuff that we was doing well, we'd do more of, and more of, and more of, and the stuff that wasn't doing so well, we'd tweak it and eventually give up on it if it wasn't something that was going to work for our page. And why I say it's so important to look at your analytics is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Happy Wives Club Facebook page, but I had heard Fawn speak about it, and she had, when I looked at it one time, it was like 250,000. The next time I looked at it, it was like 500,000. She had so much engagement and so much growth, and so I was like, I'm totally copying the Happy Wives Club Facebook page. That we could be the Happy Parenting Club, And so I did exactly what she did, and she's really does these beautiful infographics with inspirational, kind of love, like, love your husband, that kind of stuff, just really sweet things. And so I made a whole bunch of really what I thought was inspirational parenting type infographics. And they failed so miserably. Like, I didn't even use the whole series. We just like, oops, that didn't work so well. So it just goes to show, like, what works on my page is a great first step for someone else who has maybe a similar page to, like, get started, but you're really going to have to dive into the analytics to see if it's going to be worth your time to continue with that.
Say, Holly, I have a quick question. So when you're talking analytics, is it just for fan pages, or do regular Facebook pages have that?
From what I understand, it's just the business pages.
Okay.
I don't think like a personal profile would have something like that. I've never looked, but I don't think they do.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sorry, my volume went out for a second there, so I couldn't hear the last 2 seconds of what Amy was saying and then the answer. But okay. So I know that what I heard you had said, Holly, in another hangout is that you, or what I see you doing, is that like every hour you're actually putting new content out on your Facebook page, and that was one of the things that I was like, whoa, every hour, like 24 hours every hour. And I just, that really, and for me on my Facebook fan page, I have about 4,000 likes on it, and I do it like once a day. I was posting like maybe once a day or once every other day, and then when you said once every hour, I was like, really? Oh, like I've been really under posting. Like I just didn't realize that. And all the sharing that you did, because I was thinking I don't have that much content on my blog. You know, I can't post that often. And then I know this is going away from the questions, but like I just wanted to like highlight that. You know, you said you kind of really just started posting and posting and posting. And I know I heard you say before in another hangout that, you know, you will get like a lot of unlikes in the beginning, and you have to kind of brace yourself for that, correct?
Yeah, in fact, we kind of look at it as a strategy because we had been at 13,000 for probably 18 months, and a lot of those fans had been gathered through like giveaways and, you know, just kind of those not necessarily people who are that into us. And so it was really our goal to kind of shake it up and just get rid of the dead people. And if you don't love us, you're dead to us. So one of the ways that you can really shake up that crowd is by posting a lot, because you know how it is when you see a stream coming through and you see quirkymama.com, quirkymama.com, like, are you kidding me? Like, no, like, you know, and unlike, and that's for a reason. Those aren't people who are like down the road going to embrace what we're doing, you know, be hanging on every post. They're not people that like are going to get it, and so we're really like excited that they kind of move away. So I have to tell this little story, but I was teaching a workshop here locally about a year ago, and one of the girls was like, I posted this thing yesterday and I got 15 unlikes. And so I said, well, let's open up my Facebook page. I had never even really looked at this, and let's see how many people unliked me today. You know, just for comparison. And we opened it up, and it was over 300. So I said, you may not complain about unlikes until you beat me. Like when you have 350, then you can come complain to me about unlikes. But I think it's a strategy. Like lately, Facebook has like taken a lot of those fans that aren't interactive and just like wiped them away. I think we saw a less of a decrease in that because a lot of those people were already gone for us.
Yeah, I think I would cry if I had like 10 unlikes in a day. So yeah, I won't complain.
It happened to me a couple days ago. Yeah, I started implementing Holly's things after you introduced me to her hangouts, and not that I was cursing her or anything, because I totally was expecting it after listening to her. But I posted something, and I posted for like 24 hours straight, and the next day I had like 15 dislikes, and I'm like almost to 1,000. So I was totally like, oh well.
You're like, good riddance.
Exactly.
People, I don't like you either.
Okay, Diana, let's go to the next question now.
All right, so the next question in the group is actually from Crystal, brought to you by Mom, which she's here with us today. And Crystal was wanting to know, what are your thoughts on the hashtag use on Facebook? She's noticed on your page that you don't use them. So what are your thoughts on hashtagging?
I never use them unless a sponsor forces me into it and it's against my will, and they know about it. And this is why. We've tested it. I mean, on our page, and here again, your page may be different, but on our page, that use of a hashtag would just completely crush the exposure that I would expect on a certain post. Now, I think this is twofold. So because we're already, like, pretty much, I would say, nearly anything but the questions on our page, we do reader questions, but every other post on our page has a link to a blog post, to a video, or something. So what I believe, and this is Holly theory, is that Facebook looks at a hashtag as a link because it's a clickable thing. And so I think when we add those hashtags in there, it actually looks to Facebook like we have several links. And so I think for us, we've just found that one link's really effective because it gives something for people to do and take action without having to leave a comment or thumb up. But when you get into more than one link, it can get confusing. And I don't think Facebook users really care about hashtags either. So I think that's part of the reason. I think they just don't get very much interaction, which means that they're pretty much like something that would drag your post down.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes total sense because I was just curious in the sense of, because I do find that links obviously don't get as many hits as just posting a picture or a question, and kind of to like go off of that too, do you at all think like putting the whole read more, like you say like today we're going to talk about this recipe, check out more, read more, and then semicolon and then the link, or are you good with just here's the link, call it a day, or?
Yeah, so if you look, we have a really distinct style. Well, it was distinct. I think a lot of people have adopted it because, and I borrowed it from Google Plus because I loved how Google Plus you could do the bold and the spacing and stuff like that. So our titles or our first line are always something that I'm hoping will catch the reader. It's not super spammy. It's more kind of educational because we are kids activities, but it'll be capitalized. So like the most amazing 50 rainbow crafts for kids. I don't know. And then I'm going to double space and put our link in there. And then often, if I'm not too tired, I'll put something chatty because I would like to have that read more that is pre-populated by Facebook if possible, because any action on that is seen as an action. So, and I think that's one of the things that that you need to think about is any sort of click, whether it be on the link, on the read more, on the post, on the photo. If you post as a photo, then that Facebook looks at that as interaction. It gives you kind of credit or credibility to that post. I'll speak just a minute about the photo versus link. So about 6 months ago, Facebook basically came out and said, we love the link. And my fans did not love the link. We were doing the square photos because Facebook likes square photos. They look best on mobile with the link in the title and the description. But Facebook kept saying, we love the link, we love the link. And we did notice that, like, if it was a really viral type link, like maybe something from BuzzFeed that had a really gorgeous position photo, that actually seemed to have a head start against the photo post. So what we've tried to do over the last few months is train our reader, train our Facebook fan to click on the link posts. And when you upload a link in the box, it will auto-populate a photo. Well, what happens in most cases, because most sites don't really optimize for that, is that photo doesn't fit or it's really tiny. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually go to that site, you're going to grab a photo, you're going to crop it to 560 by 292, and you're going to upload it in the Upload Now button. And what that will do is it give it the most real estate, and then you're choosing what that post is, how that post is being portrayed. It looks really pretty on mobile too. Like it almost looks like a full photo. It's a little, I still think it's a little scanty on desktop, but Facebook prefers that. So like if you had the same exact post with a photo and the same exact post with a link with that beautiful cropped photo in it, is Facebook will actually push that link post out to a few more folks. Now, you're going to have to look at how your fans react to that, because we didn't really switch to mostly those link photos until about 2 months ago, because we were getting more interaction on the photo posts. So that was making those actually grow faster. But now that we've really kind of weaned people onto these others, we do about 50-50 now.
Well, what about when you take that picture from the blog? I always worry about, is that, I guess it's okay, right? Because you're giving them credit in the link. If you're sharing somebody else's blog post.
We totally, I mean, we would never ever share anything without credit. And when I see somebody do that, I just want to go hurt them. You know, I just really feel like karma is going to come back at some point on them and on their children and their children's children. But, but there are people who freak out about that. And I have a list of those people who have written me notes that say, I freak out when you edit my photo. And so I'm cautious of that. I'll always take something down if I misrepresented it or somebody's unhappy about it. I have them on a list so it doesn't happen again. And I literally, I mean, we post 26 times a day, and I've had 2 people over 9 months, you know, complain.
You think they'd be thanking you for giving them?
I know, like
Yeah,
I
that's
had
amazing.
one, we had literally sent her 35,000 hits on a blog post.
Oh my word.
And she made me take it down, and I'm like, are you sure?
Holly, you can take my photos
Whoa.
anytime.
Yeah.
Put me on the
Give me
green
my
list.
website, you know?
No, and I was so excited about how well it had done, because I'm like, why hasn't any of ours done this well? And then she's like, well, I just really don't feel comfortable with you cropping my photos. I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm so scared to download anybody's pictures from their site. So I saw you doing that, and I wondered about that. You know, I'm afraid, but yeah,
Well, think
I guess
about
it's
it
fun
this
to give them
way.
the credit.
Yeah, if they have a Pinterest button, like a pinup button, Pinterest is downloading their photo and putting it on Pinterest with a link to their site.
That's
So,
true.
like,
That's
I don't
true.
understand why, like, they would be upset at me for doing exactly what Pinterest is doing when we're doing the same thing. We're trying to send them traffic. So they spend all day pinning their stuff on Pinterest. So why wouldn't they want that to happen on Facebook too? So I figure if, like, you know, if they had no social share, or if they had please do not pin my content, or like photographers are like that, they're, you know, that's what they make their money on. So very conscious of that. But for bloggers, and when it's for content promotion and you're promoting that content, that's kind of like why they put it out there. So most of the time.
Right.
What about video? Since you know we're all our viewers and our community is mostly YouTubers. When you share a video,
Mhm.
how would you share that on your page?
So the bad news is Facebook loves Facebook video. So when we do YouTube videos, we upload it to YouTube and we upload it to Facebook. Now the good news is that Facebook also is very short attention span and will click at the end of a video. So a lot of times we may just do a short little kind of trailer like video that then links to the full YouTube. The other thing I would always suggest is, like for us, most of the time we're embedding those YouTube videos in a blog post, so that link in the description is going to go to our blog post, because my primary goal with our Facebook page is to drive traffic to my blog. But for instance, if we were like on a kick to increase our our YouTube likes or subscribers, then we might use that to send them to the YouTube channel. And the good news about that is, even though that sounds counterintuitive, you just uploaded the video to Facebook and then you put the YouTube link above. But a lot of people, and I'm one of them, prefer watching YouTube videos versus Facebook videos on mobile devices, because it just is more stable. And I don't know if you've ever been on Facebook, but it's the most frustrating thing when you click on a video and it starts showing the video you saw before, like 3 minutes ago, and you're like, are you kidding? Like, I just clicked on this video. You know, like, YouTube doesn't do that. They've got that figured out. So it's crazy, but with even a Facebook uploaded video with a YouTube link and a YouTube where you can do an action on a Facebook, where at the end you can say go to the YouTube channel, is we get a significant amount of traffic to the YouTube channel and some subscribes from that, even though it is a native upload to Facebook.
What about sharing other videos that aren't your own?
Yeah, so I would do that as a share from that page, because if you just, I mean, this is not impossible to do, but it's a lot less of a sure thing. Like, a Facebook uploaded video is a sure thing. That will get more exposure, more eyeballs on that video than anything else you put up all day. So like that's amazing, and that helps your page grow because it's going to get, you're going to get more people to your page because of that video. But so then the second thing is that, like, Facebook viewers like video. So if there's some way that you can create an image that looks like a start of a video, like maybe put the triangle or something like that, so they're clicking on that, and do it in a link post, so when they click on that photo with this triangle on it, they're going to the YouTube video or to a blog post with that video embedded in it. But that's going to get a little less exposure, but that may be worth it depending on what you're trying to do with that. So, and then my last choice is to actually like put the YouTube link without changing the photos, because oftentimes they turn out kind of tiny, and like the people don't necessarily know they're a YouTube video in all. And sometimes it's weird because sometimes they look better than others, but sometimes they just kind of look like crap and they'll just get browsed over. And I think that's because Facebook likes Facebook. Facebook doesn't care for YouTube that much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I had a question to piggyback off of that. So that's a really good point about Facebook likes Facebook video. So if you go with the idea of making a trailer on Facebook to drive people to your YouTube video, which is longer, what do you think the optimal length for that Facebook trailer would be? 30 seconds, 1 minute?
Yeah, like when we do a specific Facebook video, I mean, we have some that may be 45 seconds, but I really shoot for that under 30 seconds, because if you look in your analytics, those people are dropping like flies at about 20 to 30 seconds. Like, I mean, like, and the cool thing about Facebook is you're gonna like we might put something on Facebook, the same video that will get 60,000 views. Yet we put it on our YouTube channel and it gets 600. And so obviously that's one of the reasons why we like to put our video over on Facebook, because it gets more eyeballs on it. But if you look at those charts, it's a cruel, cruel world over at Facebook. Like, they're in, they're out. So the shorter I've done ones that are almost as short as the Instagram ones, like 14 seconds or so.
I do like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
I do little 10-second trailers. Yeah, they get good hits.
Yeah, they do, and they get a lot of exposure. And then don't give away the milk for free. Like, maybe keep a secret that's going to keep them going on to that next thing, unless you're just like us and just are throwing it all out there just for views on Facebook, because we just want to keep the engagement up, and the videos do that.
Okay, good, very good. I'm not good at being brief, but it sounds like I need to practice.
Yeah,
10 seconds, Diana. 10 seconds.
Stop.
Timer. Okay, you actually answered Samantha's question from the group Happily a Housewife. So the next question is from Sanella, and she asked, "Is your reach organic? Do you pay Facebook to help you promote, or would you recommend that?"
So our growth, and we grew, we gained about 1 million Facebook fans in 1 year and 4 days, and it was all organic for that, and it was just basically using this system of just building on kind of just trying to build an audience just a little bit more every single day and keeping that momentum going. Now for me, I usually boost a post maybe 2 or 3 times a week for sponsors. It's a really cost-effective way, especially if I know I can create a really, really nice Facebook post that my readers are going and my fans are going to engage with. It's going to get a nice organic growth, and then I'll go in and boost it. In fact, I did that tonight for a sponsor. So and what that does is when I boost, I go in and I target it. So for instance, the one that I boosted tonight was for EduSense. They have a Minecraft library, like books about Minecraft, building Minecraft, fiction, that kind of stuff. And so the organic reach, once I saw that was kind of tapering off a little bit, I went in and boosted it, and I boosted it specifically to dads, to people who play Minecraft and other games that were real popular that kind of popped up with the tags when I clicked on Minecraft, and then also moms who liked reading. because I figure like if they have, kids that are playing video games all day and they see books about those video games, they might be encouraged to purchase those. So when I use that boost feature, I really like to go in and really pick out who I want to see that, because I feel like my fans have already kind of had first pass at it. And even though, the way Facebook is today, there's like, you're lucky if you get one post a day that all your fans or like the number of your fans would see. But I don't know, I feel like Facebook is pretty good about saying, yeah, this is something that enough of your fans has seen, and that's why I like to target outside of that with that money. For us, we haven't seen a really big need to like promote ourselves via paid ads. I do sell Young Living essential oils on our on Kids Activities blog, and so one of the things that we have done is some Facebook advertising for specifically that. So that would be a little bit different, and here again the targeting comes into effect because it's only going to appeal to a fraction of our audience.
Great, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Okay, how many more questions do we have there?
Oh, I believe there's just a few more.
Okay, I had one question I really wanted to ask too. So let's go ahead. We'll do your next one, and then I'll do mine. What's the next one?
All right, I just got it pulled up from the YouTube Mommy Meetup Facebook group, and Angela from Angela's Happy Family asks, she is wanting to know, when scheduling your posts, how do you keep track of what you've already done on what days and what times? So 26 posts a day, how do you keep track of everything? And do you double up? Right now she's writing it down in her calendar, and it takes so much time. So what's the best way to keep track of it? And secondly, she asks, is it best to schedule your posts on a daily basis to keep things current, or do a week at a time? So how do you schedule them out, and how do you keep track of it?
Okay, so this was a work in progress because it is, I mean, I used to complain about our editorial calendar because we post twice a day, and now Facebook blows that away. So what we've done, and there's three of us generally, and there's a few other people that kind of plug in for certain things, but there's three of us that are kind of in charge of that. And what we've done is created a Google document in a spreadsheet that has all the time slots that we schedule throughout the day. And in general, each one of those time slots has an assigned topic, or at least something to give us an idea of what we're going to put in that place. So for instance, if I looked at our March Facebook schedule, my 1 o'clock a.m. slot is one of my favorite slots of the day, and so what I put there is a Kids Activities blog post from our archives that I really like, but that hasn't been successful on Facebook before, because I find that 1 a.m. slot, for some reason, likes stuff that sometimes wouldn't fly later in the day. So that's what I would do at 1, and at 2 a.m. We might be sharing something from Jamie Harrington, who works very, very closely with all of us from Totally the Bomb, her blog, and then at 3 a.m. I have a share group that goes in there. Actually, at 3 a.m. is a video from Collective Press. So each one of those slots throughout the whole day has kind of where we're going to go get that, or where it's from, so that it's not because you'd have blank page syndrome every day, oh my gosh, where am I going to get 26 posts today? So once you kind of figure out what you want to put in each thing, and we space our own content out throughout, so I think we post maybe 5 or 6 times to things that are Kids Activities blog throughout the day, but they're spaced with maybe 2 or 3 posts in between through 24 hours. And so what that does is that gives us, when we need to put our own things in, when we're going to find share things. I know I think it's our 6 o'clock p.m. one is just go find something that could be viral, wherever it is, go get it and go put it there. So there's those type of things, and then there's also we're in Pub Exchange, where you can sign up and send me traffic, and I have to send traffic back to you, and we use our Facebook page for that. And so I have several slots throughout the day for people who I owe traffic in PubExchange. And then we also like if you have a blog post that you think our readers would like, you can post it to our wall, because we have 1 or 2 slots a day that is specifically set aside for people who have posted things to our wall. We share from that. We just pick out what we think will work that day, and it's not always what will work that day, but what we're lacking. And that's the other thing I think when people don't think about when they're like, why haven't you shared from me? And it's not because your content isn't brilliant, but you have to remember, like, my primary goal is to send traffic to my blog from my Facebook page. So if your post is really, really similar to something that I have on my blog, I'm likely going to share it from my blog. But if you've written something that I haven't thought of, and I'm like, crap, why didn't I write that? Like, that is you're getting that slot. Because I'm like, man, that's going to be golden, and I wish I'd written it. So, like, you want to really look at, and then we run into crazy, like, people don't understand this, but around the holidays especially, like, all the posts are holiday, but my Facebook fans do not want 26 holiday posts. So, like, if you have an evergreen post that you just happen to pop on my Facebook page when everything else is Easter, that's something that's going to get more attention on that day, and probably more attention on that day than it would in the middle of July when there's nothing really going on.
Holly, I can interrupt for just 1 second. I've never posted to someone else's page. I didn't even know. So when someone posts to your page, only you can see that, right? Not all of your...
No. So this is what's so amazing about when you post to someone else's page. And most bloggers now are kind of getting with the... Some people still think you're spamming them, but, like, don't post on their page. They don't get it. But when you post to their page, you can set it up just like you'd post to your own page. But what's amazing about that is it goes into a sidebar, and like, if you can see other posts, like on a tab, that you could pull up all those things that other people have posted to their page. Which, if you're looking for Pinterest fodder, like, or other things to share on Facebook, people put amazing stuff on our wall. And that we don't have time to share it all. Obviously, I try to pin it. But the other thing that happens, and this is why I share to other people's page sometimes, is a portion of your fans will see that share. So it's very, very powerful because it's not on your wall. So, like, you're not clogging up your wall, or so, like, let's say you posted something you really love yesterday and you think it's too soon to share it to your own page. You could share it to another page that accepts shares, and that some of your fans might see it, and also that other page might see it, and fans of that other page might see it. But I've had situations where like, I've shared to another page, like Happy Hooligans or Red Ted Art. They all accept shares to their page, and I'll get a significant amount of shares on that just from sharing to their page. And sometimes it's just a few, but you'll get some interaction, and you'll get some feedback and that kind of stuff too. And the other cool thing that you need to think about is, you don't want to run around and share the same thing to a whole bunch of pages at the same time, because your fans are going to be spammed with, some of your fans may be spammed with that right in a row. Just kind of like pinning the same thing right in a row.
Right, like if you post something that you think is just epic and you're like, I'm going to get this out there, it's not a good idea to go sharing it all over the place. Okay.
But sending it out to a different page every day or so, like after you've shared it on your own, it could be a really good strategy.
I think that was my question. I think it was the second half of Angela's, was about how, like, it sounds like you do it every day. Like, every day, are you scheduling for that day or the next day, or do you do it in, like, on Monday for the whole week, say?
So each slot is a little different. So, like, when I'm talking about, like, that 1 a.m. slot, that's going to be Kids Activities Blog Archives. Well, I can pull that a month in advance. In fact, we have probably 10 of the 26 slots that are scheduled through the entire month at a time. So we'll just go in and schedule a whole month's worth. Another thing that happens similar to that is our reader questions. Is we receive about 40 to 50 reader questions a day, and we ask too. So like the pressure there. But on the other side of that is we now have like some of the better questions, or like the more common questions, or the question. So like we might schedule those out in advance. And quite honestly, after 30 questions that are all similar, we might rotate those. Don't ever tell anybody that. But like, you know, because you know, they just, and when things do well, you want to share it again. So that's the other thing that you want to do, is look at what's performing well on your page, and not only go out and find something similar to that, but put it on your calendar so you share it in 3 weeks or 4 weeks again. I mean, don't put that away. Like, your fans are not going to be like, oh my gosh, she shared that 3 weeks ago and 3 days. Like, I am not clicking on that. That is not happening. Like, in fact, if you look at our page really closely, is that you might see that same post pop up every 3 or 4 days with a different photo. I didn't tell you that either.
That's a good idea. Well, Holly, what do you use for your? I don't know. This is, sorry, I'm totally like you're just really quick. What do you use for your editorial calendar? Like, do you use like an Excel spreadsheet? Do you have a? Just really curious about that.
Yeah. So because we have a team that works on it, we use a Google Doc of spreadsheet so that everybody has access, and then it's all color coded by like who's supposed to be posting at certain days and at certain times, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's literally one of the most like obscene things you've ever seen. Like, it's really big and long and colorful.
And the one criticism I've heard about scheduling a lot is, do you guys have, what happens if there's some kind of national crisis or something going on where you just want to shut down all your scheduled posts? Or would you keep them going? That's what I get worried about with scheduled things, is that what if there's some kind of horrible event that occurs in our country, and I don't want, you know, my post going, you know, big moment, and it scares me because that would kind of make me look, I wouldn't want that. So do you have like some kind of like system in place where you can shut down all your scheduled posts, or would you just let them go?
I think it would depend on the situation, and how, you know, what it was and how big it was and how it affects our fans and what the reaction would be, either way. Because I think, like, we're all sunshine and roses and cupcakes and, you know, and rainbows and, you know, cotton ball things, you know. I mean, so like, you know, our whole, you know, the most of what we're weaving throughout the day is, hey, spend a little time with your kids this day, you know. And so a lot of times that speaks to whatever might be going on. It might be a day you do want to hug your kids tighter that day, and hey, here's something to get your mind off of it. So, but we do some parenting resource posts and parenting, like, things that could be kind of controversial, because controversy on our page goes crazy, and people tell us their opinion, and they really shout at each other. So, which is good for engagement. So those are the type of posts I would probably delete. But, you know, if you go into your scheduled posts, you could run through those and just delete the ones you found inappropriate really easily. And so it might be a good thing that if you're doing your page alone, you might have a fellow blogger be an admin as well for that very situation. You know, hopefully one of you would be able to take action in something like that.
Okay, and I really loved when I heard you say that it's just don't look at the comments if it is a post that you think a fight might break out. Just don't look, right? I remember because you said, I heard you say, you were getting yelled at about being a horrible parent because you allowed your kid to do X, Y, and Z, and sometimes that is good for engagement. And maybe just don't look. And I remember I was laughing because you said sometimes it's even like you encourage it a little bit, and it's okay because and I love that perspective. It was a good perspective. I really liked hearing that. It was very refreshing.
Yeah, and it didn't take us very long, and it really hit more when we hit like 100,000 and above, where there was just not a post. Okay, maybe a cookie. No, not a cookie post. I mean, like, there's just not a post that somebody can't say something ugly about. Like, cookies have too much sugar. That rainbow cookie has food coloring. You shouldn't be feeding your kids that. You shouldn't let them cry it out. You shouldn't hug them there's just nothing. There's nothing you can put out there that the entire internet is going to agree with. And the entire, like a good part of the internet is nasty. And you guys on YouTube know this better than anyone because there's nothing nastier than a YouTube commenter. But the second nasty one is over on Facebook, which shocks me because they're putting that out under their own name, that vile grossness. So, like, if a post does really well on our page, there's going to be something ugly in that. And I just, like, I used to laugh and say, because we do have people that go through and moderate comments and then also answer direct messages, which is a whole, like, if you think they're nasty on the front of our page, you should really get into that inbox. That's gold. But like,
I don't think I've ever heard it referred to as gold before.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, nasty gold. But, like, you know, like, they just, like, there must be something that people just feel like they need to be heard. So we have someone that goes in because there are some things that, like, you know, like, are borderline child abuse or just really ugly things, or they fight, like, they are name calling against another fan. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, we don't need that, you know, that on our page. And so we have someone that goes through and deletes those on a regular basis. But I really felt like I used to be that person, and, you know, like, everybody cycled through that. And after about 3 weeks of that, you really hate life. Like, you're like, oh, humanity.
You start to lose hope in humanity.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that it's good to have a few people on rotation because you can have a vacation and then you're like roses and you can stop and smell them, and then, like, you get back into the bowels of Facebook comments. But, like, yeah, if we ever share something from you that goes really well, please, please, please don't read the comments because I promise you they'll make you cry. They would make me cry. I don't read them.
Yeah, I know we hear a lot from the YouTube Mommy Meetup community in the Facebook group. A lot of newer YouTubers, they have a lot of trouble with that, with comments on their videos. You know, when everybody, you know, the first kind of hateful comment you get is always pretty upsetting, and, you know, after you've been doing it a while, you sort of get used to it, and you stop looking on some videos. I've never looked at the comments because I'm aware that they probably got pretty ugly, and I just let them go and didn't even look at them. But in the beginning, it's kind of shocking, and some people quit over it, and it's really sad because, you know, like you said, you just got to think sunshine and roses and keep going. And it's not always a bad thing necessarily. You're getting engagement there, but yeah, it's hard.
No, like, I got a full-blown email today that had, no joke, 12 sources on why one of the things we posted on Facebook page like 3 days ago was evil. And I'm like, I wrote back, do you want me to take it down? like, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, thank you. I actually agree with you. And that's not the point. And I think that's where people get so screwed up in this day and age, is I actually I agreed with the person who wrote that really crazy email instead of the person who wrote the post. But that's immaterial. Like, I'm like, my opinion is not 100% right or 100% the world's, obviously. Like, I think it's really good for us to hear each other. And, you know, I went back and read the post that she was complaining about. The post, even though I didn't agree with it, was beautifully put together. And it did not say what she said it said because she didn't read it with an open heart and with grace. And then what I found interesting about the Facebook comments was there was 300 comments of a conversation. I mean, some of them were ugly, but for the most part, people saying, you know, I agreed with some of that, but not all of it, and here's why. And a lot of those resources that she put in her email to me, which is going to go to one person, other people had put in those comments, which went to many. And so I think we have to stop thinking the world needs to agree with us and just, like, open our minds and maybe, like, listen to someone else's experience before we leave something nasty. But that's just me.
Yeah, beautifully said. I love that. Beautifully said. Okay, we're past time a little bit. I just want to say hi to everybody on Twitter. I see Leah Raising Bushes. She says, I did a month's worth of scheduling in advance a few months ago. I only did one post per day, though, so I need to focus on doing more time slots. So, yes, me too. Like I said, that was my my faux pas there. So, and I see Anne Marie from It's Just My Life CA, our other Twitter team lead, is doing a lot of tweeting on there, and I just can't read it all, so I'm scrolling through. And Katie from Mama Speaks Geek says, I love scheduling my Facebook posts. I have a spot in my planner where I keep track of my posts. So thank you, everybody on Twitter. I do see the conversation there, and I appreciate you guys. And okay, so I think that is probably going to wrap it up. As for the Hangout here, I'm trying to scroll through. I don't see any specific questions, but we are going to do a few minutes post-Hangout on the live Twitter chat and see if anybody has any questions. So if anybody watching via Meerkat on the live Twitter feed, if you have any questions, please just comment with that, and so we'll try to answer that when we stop the broadcast here. But thank you to everybody who did tune in here. Holly, go ahead and tell everybody where we can go and find you and all of your wonderful stuff that you're putting out there.
Well, thanks. So Kids Activities blog is kind of my home base, but I have hours and hours and hours. I'm a little obsessed with Facebook and other blogging how-to tutorials and that kind of stuff on my YouTube channel. So if you just put Holly Homer into YouTube, you're going to find way more information than you ever needed. And then a lot of my educational information about blogging and Facebook is on the Business to Blogger blog, and that's business with the number 2 blogger.com. And of course, our Facebook page is Quirky Mama, and Mama is spelled M-O-M-M-A.
Okay. Wonderful. Perfect. Okay. And so Amy, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can go to find you? If I'm sure everybody knows you, but go ahead. Just some podcast listeners might be new. So go ahead.
I'm Amy Dreamflight 6000, and you can find me on YouTube, Pinterest, and Twitter, and Instagram at Dreamflight 6000.
What's going on, Amy? Do you have a cold? It sounds like your voice is hoarse
I've
tonight.
had trouble since November. I'm going to see an ENT next week to try to figure it out. So.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Diana, where can everybody go to find you?
Everyone can find me at youtube.com/BeMommyWithStyle, and I also like to hang out on Instagram a lot, BeMommyWithStyle.
Okay. And Crystal?
You can find me out at the website at broughttoyoubymom.com, and then I'm also out on YouTube at broughttoyoubymom.tv, and then I'm just across the board on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all those good places, just brought, the number 2, the letter U, by mom.
Okay, perfect. All right, and you can find Crystal also in our Blogging Mommy Meetup group, and of course, we are all in the YouTube Mommy Meetup group. And I am Dana Ryan from DanaRyan.tv and DanaRyan.com. And thank you to everybody who is listening in the podcast. And if you did find value in this, I would really appreciate it if you would head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. Those reviews really do help. And we will be here in 2 weeks in another Hangout, and we will see you then. All right, we're heading over to Meerkat. All right, bye, everybody.